The Culture Corner segment is the segment of the show where, as the old adage goes, right, politics is downstream of culture. So if the people that are in control want to either control you harder, daddy, or want to get control over things they didn't previously have control of, they need to convince you through what's called soft power, the cultural sphere of getting you to accept things that maybe you wouldn't have previously. So if they could change the culture to make you more subservient, more malleable to their will and all of that kind of stuff, then that's exactly what they'll do. So it's not that the culture wars are some sort of academic endeavor of side A versus side B. Pushing the culture in one direction or the other is very useful to the people that want to either get control or power or expand what they currently already have. And so on this segment of the show, we point out where they're trying to move the culture in a certain direction and for what purposes. And as David said in this segment of Culture Corner, we are reacting to Joe Biden's first campaign video for the 2024 election. And if you've been alive and aware for the last few years, you know that the cultural dynamic that is being pushed from the top down is divide, 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 divide. And this isn't your average, everyday, run-of-the-mill, divide and conquer that the powerful have been doing since time immemorial. This is a unique type of divide and conquer where everything is not only divisible into, intersectionality, if you will, but also in the way it's being done. It's not just this side thinks A and this side thinks B. It's this side who thinks A is so morally reprehensible that we can do and say to them whatever we want because they're borderline, if not absolutely, subhuman. And that's the rhetoric. That's the vision that we need you to have of them because we have plans to make sure that they are treated as the less than subhuman that they are. And we wouldn't want you getting in your feelings and feeling bad about this group of people. So that's exactly what the divider in chief, the image that he's going to project in this video. And if you are an audio-only listener, I would encourage you to go over to YouTube, Rumble, or Odyssey and look at the video of this because as we react to this and, hit play and you hear the different portions of the video, Nameless Faceless Guy is going to be playing it next to us. So you'll want to see this video or at least go down in the show notes and click the link and watch the video for yourself.
Why don't we play the video in its entirety first and then we'll go back and react to it? Would that be better?
No, because it's like a 3.5 minute video. I mean, just by playing it twice,
public service announcement, by the way.
We're going to make a lot of pops.
If this is your first Weapons of Meme Destruction episode, we're going to take a 3-minute video and turn it into a 30-minute long gab fest. So get your tea, maybe crumpets. Which
also, if you're a first-time listener, you may have not heard this quote before from Thomas Sowell. I'm paraphrasing, but sometimes it takes a book to refute a bumper sticker. You'll have to forgive us if it takes us 30 minutes to unpack all the bullshit that a political candidate of Joe Biden's ill repute is able to pack into 3 minutes of propaganda.
By the way, can I start the festivities off? Can I hit the first drive?
Absolutely.
Off the tee? Just the fact that he's running again should say all you need to know about the Democratic Party. I mean, have we not been, is it not 90% of the country that's like, I don't think he's even tying his own shoelaces, let alone pulling any levers up there in DC. But he's going to make it sound like I've got a plan. It's serious. It's serious. I have hairy legs. No, he's going to tell you that he's the only man for the job when he's on death's door. I mean, can we just call a spade a spade? He does not look good for... The Crypt Keeper looks like he has a better skincare regimen than homeboy Biden. So anyway, that's my initial drive off the tee. Hopefully I got about 300 yards out of it.
Yeah. So We apologize in advance for the numerous pauses throughout this video, but again, you will be shocked and surprised at how much propaganda they can pack into a 3-minute video. And, it demands our response. And so we're going to give it to you. So with that being said, let's get into the video.
No, it's not a Christopher Nolan movie.
Freedom.
Right out of the gate. First word.
I mean,
God damn it.
fuck, Joe. Like, could you...
Freedom.
Could you pick a word that is more the antithesis of everything you and your party stands for than freedom?
What did you have us do for 4 years, Joe? Or at least
Lockdown,
2.
forcibly, get a medical treatment, all the hallmarks of freedom, coercion. Yeah. When I think of freedom, that's what I think of.
Everybody that didn't follow your exact rules all the time was called an other and saying that they were going to kill grandma.
Yeah. Kind of like
That
this
sounds like
video.
freedom. That
And it
sounds like
sounds like you really got past it.
Freedom.
So,
It's freedom.
yeah.
All right, we're going to need more than that, Joe. Come on, let's get it.
Let's see what Joe has
Go.
besides simply freedom.
Go on.
That would have been hilarious if that was the whole
That was
video.
just so bad.
Freedom.
Actually, that would have been better than what he fucking made.
Absolutely, it would have been.
Freedom. Just
So-
vote Biden.
Anyway, back to our divider in chief.
Personal freedom is fundamental to who we are as Americans.
There's nothing more important, nothing more sacred.
Oh,
That's
I don't
been
know.
the work of my first term. To
Pause.
fight
Nothing more important than personal freedom. Oh, I don't know. Whether or not you want to subjugate yourself to a medical treatment, Joe?
Or get locked in your house, or not go to a family member's funeral because too many people are gathering outside. Somehow that's a bad thing.
But your politicians got freedom while they were telling us that we did. So you guys got to enjoy the freedom, but not, okay.
No personal freedom to go to the hospital and get your colon cancer checked to make sure that it hasn't metastasized out to the rest of your entire body, because we're worried about a virus, don't you know?
Don't
the
get
list
healthy.
goes on and on. Don't go into this building without a mask, or, the freedom that our troops allegedly fight for. Well, screw that. If they don't want to get this medical experiment, they're kicked out. So, you get less freedom because there's less troops fighting for it. So
Maybe we'll have you move around less. Maybe
Yeah.
you shouldn't be able to travel so much. Maybe you shouldn't say the things you want to say on social media. Maybe
Yeah.
you shouldn't be free to say that.
how could we forget the V word passports? You're speaking of not being
Yes.
able to move around as much.
Right, that's what I was referring to.
All hallmarks of personal freedom.
Absolutely. I can't feel any more free than being told I can't do something.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
So anyway, Joe, in his 1st term,
3 seconds in and we're looking good.
fighting for our democracy.
to fight for our democracy.
This shouldn't be a red or blue issue.
Shouldn't be a red or blue issue, Joe.
But you're making it one.
Can't imagine who made it that
Who
way.
would do that? Fuck's sake. Hold on. Give me a timestamp. What, how many? 7?
We're at 25 seconds.
Oh, we're at 25. Wow, that's better than I thought we were doing.
No.
I thought we were literally 7 seconds into it.
Well, there was like an 8-second pause between between him saying freedom and then the rest of it.
Was it? Do we know who this was directed by? Because this sounds like the Oppenheimer. Like if from where I'm sitting, not seeing the
Don't
screen.
besmirch Christopher Nolan's good name
Just
with
saying.
this.
But that's like suspenseful.
No,
Like-
yeah, of course that's what it is.
Why is your campaign suspenseful? Why are you taking
Because
this
we're
tact?
all in suspense as to whether or not we're going to survive his first term to even get to his second.
Well, Jesus.
We're on the edge of
It
our
sounds like
seats.
I've got to fight Thanos. He's got all the rings and the gauntlet. It's going to be hard. I'm going to need Iron Man and Superman and all the DC characters as well. It's not Thanos. It's an orange man. Well, Thanos was purple. I got hairy legs. Anyway.
It's your favorite line, I know.
Well,
All
you know.
right, back to the.
He's
back
got
to
some
the-
other ones I don't want to say because we want to be YouTube
Back
official.
to the video.
To protect our rights, to make sure that everyone in this country is treated equally.
There we go. Here we go.
Make sure everyone's treated equally, unless they don't do what we say, and then they're,
Or
completely
unless
driven out of society, canceled,
they
fired,
accidentally misrepresent someone's assumed gender that day.
pushed to the back of the line if they need medical treatment, that kind of thing.
Or Jimmy Kimmel saying that somebody that didn't get a certain thing that they were saying that you definitely should be allowed to just perspire.
Yeah, just die, Wheezy.
Or perspire. You should be allowed to sweat, David. Good idea. Expire, yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
that's the word.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking for.
Anyway, let's see if Joe's any
I
better with his words than David.
There.
Yeah, exactly.
I was perspiring.
All right.
And that everyone is given a fair shot at making it.
What?
But around the country, MAGA extremists are lining up to take on those bedrock freedoms, cutting Social Security that you paid for your entire life while cutting taxes for the very wealthy, dictating what healthcare decisions women can make, banning books.
All right, so let's take those three. Cutting Social Security. No doubt.
Just ask our generation what we feel like about Social Security, by the way.
Yeah. How about those of us paying into it for all of our working lives up to this point, and God knows for how much longer, that aren't going to be able to get that, Joe? Do we count in the whole cutting Social Security thing? And why aren't we getting it, Joe?
Yeah, Joe.
Is it because the fiscal house has not only completely fallen apart, it is in absolute ashes as it burns to the ground because of people like you and Republicans? There are no innocent parties
Not in that one.
on Capitol Hill in terms of the debt and deficit. So don't take our hatred or chastising of Joe in this example as excusing those on the right. But the part of the issue, part of the debate from some people that are suggesting cuts to security isn't just to help give tax breaks to the wealthy or anything like that. There's been suggestion to do that so that we could continue to give money to Ukraine, Joe, that you and your party are pushing for as since America First as a worldview is apparently so heinous and backwards and antiquated that I guess we need to be like America 37th, or I don't know where the line is. Maybe 37 is even too high, but definitely not first. In pursuit of that, it is cut all kinds of programs. What about those people in Hawaii? Now, again, it's not Social Security checks, so it's not a talking point for you, Joe. But how much did the victims of the Hawaii fires get while billions funneled out of the country to Ukraine?
By the way, didn't we lose $6 billion in transit to the Ukraine? And wouldn't that fund have helped rebuild?
Would have helped a lot of people in America. Might have helped Social Security.
Could have. Or what I'm saying is Hawaii would have been able to build back better, Joe, with that $6 billion. But we just lost it in Ukraine. No need to look for it though. But yeah. And then, by the way, I think your family is really friendly with Ukraine, is it not? I think Hunter had a job over there in the energy sector for a little while.
Think things over in Ukraine and China have been pretty good to the Biden family. But again, we digress.
Yes.
Point 2, not allowing women to have control over their healthcare choices. Well, that's really rich that you would hang your hat on not letting people have autonomy over their healthcare choices.
Yeah, couldn't think of anything.
We're 49 seconds into this propaganda video that Joseph Goebbels would be proud of. And I think we've beat that horse pretty severely to death about
I like the books part.
Autonomy and medical choices.
I like the books part. Let's get to the books part.
Yeah, the last part, the banning of the books.
The banning of the books.
Joe.
Just like the Reichstag.
Joseph. The kind of the underlying theme of book banning is, maybe you're not aware of this, it's called censorship. And regardless of whether your side wants to play up that the right is banning books and that's terrible and how dare they do that, do we need to revisit the Twitter files? Do we need to revisit the if not coercing, at least harnessing the power of allegedly private platforms like YouTube and Facebook to censor social media posts that don't jive with whatever your narrative is on a particular subject matter. So again, if you look where we paused the video, nameless, faceless guy has it up behind us. The sign being held that up is "Books Unite Us," and there's a line through censorship. So your people, Joe, they understand that book banning is all about censorship. So just because, nuking people off of YouTube and Facebook or colluding with then Twitter and now X to get accounts suspended or people canceled for saying things that didn't jive with your agenda, although that is not technically book banning, it sure as hell is censorship of an order that, like I said, Goebbels and the historical book banners of years gone by would be extremely jealous of the ability to just delete somebody from the public sphere of debate via social media companies.
And speaking of books, how many town halls or school board meetings did we see with parents flabbergasted by the text that was given to their grade school child with sexually explicit content in it? And
what happened to those parents when they voiced their opinions, Joe?
What did happen to them?
Yeah, some more censorship?
Mm-hmm. And what did happen to those people that were forcing those books into the schools? And I do say forcing. They were held accountable eventually in some states, and they had to either resign or there was going to be a class action lawsuit filed against them. So your side introduced books that were, I don't know, very inappropriate and then I don't want to tiptoe around the bushes here. It seemed a little G word. Can we say the G word on YouTube?
What's the G word?
Beep this out if it can't be said. Grooming?
I think so.
Yeah, those books were considered grooming. Well, we would never want to do that to a population of, speaking of medical procedures, children being able to have the right to mutilate their bodies. Yeah. Before they're of the age of consent.
Yeah. Even in some cases without telling their parents or hiding it from them.
But we can't. We got to be understanding, Dane.
Or children being taken away from parents that objected to it.
But yeah.
Again, none of that censorship. None of that makes you the bad guy. It's like, we the baddies. Yes, you are, Joe.
I don't know. If you're on the side where...
You and the rest of your brown shirts.
I can't say the P word because I don't want to get struck again. But you're on the side that calling peas not nice and not a good thing of our society. I don't know if you want to check your lines or not.
Yeah.
So politics makes for strange bedfellows, huh, buddy?
Yeah. All right, moving back into the video.
And telling people who they can love, all while making it more difficult for you to be able to vote.
What?
Making it more difficult for you to be able to vote. Well, isn't that a matter of relativity there, Joe? That if you make the ability to vote, the fact that you don't have to be alive, sometimes you don't even have to be have ever existed. You definitely, obviously, don't have to have an ID, and you can just mail in a piece of paper. Well, not you, because again, you either don't have an ID, you're not alive, or you never existed. So somebody else is mailing it in. If that is expanded to meet the definition of voting, then yeah, I guess anything that makes any of those things not allowed would be restricting voting. But I don't think we're talking about the same thing, Joe.
I don't think we are either.
I think when you're talking about restricting voting, you're, trying to rhetorically nudge people in a certain direction, but you're definitely not admitting all those other things, which, again, we know happened. We know it, Joe. So again, restricting voting, that's a clever rhetorical trick.
Remember when they were saying that they wanted to ban having a driver's license or some form of identification to be able to vote? And they were saying that the black community is disparaged in that regard because they don't have the access to gain those pieces of.
Yeah, who were the people that were saying that they either couldn't get it or they didn't know where to go to get it,
And
or
then it
they
created
didn't know.
a video that
Who were those type of what type of people would they identify as? The ones that were saying that?
I think they would vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah.
But it did lead to a wonderful
That's
piece of
true.
content. You remember that video where the guy walked around in Harlem and was like asking random people?
What was his name? I don't know. You keep talking. I'll look it up.
So anyway, he was just walking down a random street and he would just ask some random person. Was it in Harlem? I think it was in Harlem, right? Or
One was in
Bronx?
Harlem. One was on like the campus of UCLA.
Okay, and then he was asking them the stereotypical college student, and I'll let you just paint the picture in your head, would be like, well, yeah, they come from poor backgrounds and they don't have the access to the same amenities as we do, and it's just not right. And then it would cut to him asking somebody in Harlem, do you know where the DMV is? And he's like, yeah, you take it 2 blocks up here, you take a left, and it's right there. Or there's another one down here, and you take and then he would go, and then it would cut back to the college. Do you have it?
The name of the video is Ami Horowitz. Do voter ID laws suppress the black vote? And he just goes around asking your average white liberal. He says, so tell me, do voter ID laws, the fact that you have to present an ID before you can vote, do they suppress the black vote? Or what he asks some of the people is the loaded question that they say on their own terms is it's racist. Voter ID laws are racist.
Yeah.
Which again,
explain that. I can't, but
when
it is.
you think about it for 5 seconds, you think, everybody has to have an ID for all kinds of reasons. If they drive a car, obviously they get pulled over, got to show their ID. If they want to go get a drink at a bar or buy a pack of cigarettes, they have to show their ID to show that they're above age. If they want to travel and say, get a passport or something like that, that's a form of ID they have to have. So everybody has to have ID in this draconian Orwellian type society where every single one of our movements needs to be tracked, regardless of race. So why would the statement of voter IDs, which don't say voter IDs for black people or voter IDs for minorities, no, just voter IDs, period. All voter IDs need to be presented at the time of voting. How would that policy be racist? Ami Horowitz asked the question, and I'm sure you can imagine just on our characterization of it. We will drop that video in the show notes so that you can watch it for yourself if you haven't seen it. But you've probably already gathered from the way we've talked about it here exactly what the white liberals had to say about why it's racist. And suffice it to say, it's not very flattering for them in their position about what they truly, truly think about the minority community.
And you know what it is, Dane? It's the subtle racism of lowered expectations. How dare you? They can't help it. They're not smart enough to be able to help them. So we'll have to help them because they can't help themselves. Thank you, liberals. You just insulted them even more. So, by the way, speaking of which, any depictions, any descriptions of anything going on over there? Anything standing out to you with what the video looks like? The depictions, the choice close-ups or anything like that? Are they showing? You said the books equal censorship and all that good stuff.
Yeah, this is obviously for the audio-only listeners in case they either don't remember or don't have time to go check out the video version and not see it for themselves. There is a lot of footage of January 6th or just, people in MAGA hats with an angry look on their face. A lot of painting of the picture that this group of people, these
evil,
as the great stateswoman of our time, Hillary Clinton would say, these deplorables are the enemies of democracy and all things sacred that Americans hold dear. And that's why Joe Biden is here in his infinite power and wisdom to defend the rest of us from those evil people.
Thank God.
So a lot of that imagery.
And then if I can break character for a second, as if anything would be sacred to these fucking things other than themselves and their own wants and wishes.
Of course.
Sorry.
So
back to it.
When I ran for president 4 years ago, I said we're in a battle for the soul of America, and we still are. The question we're facing is whether in the years ahead we have more freedom or less freedom.
That's certainly the question, Joe. That is the first true thing you have said in this entire video.
Holy shit. And how many?
We're at a minute 15.
By God, Joe.
About a third of the way in.
You didn't waste any time, did you?
I believe that's what we call in the business burying the lead, Joe. We're guilty of it, so don't take it too.
Don't worry.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
Happens to the best of us.
But yeah, that's the question. That's the question. More or less freedom moving forward, Joe.
I don't have anything to say. We'll just leave it to the viewers. I mean, do you feel more or less free?
Yeah.
Since 2020, do you feel pretty free?
Do the things that are being suggested, coming down the pipe, just one example we gave about the whole, and again, this isn't Joe explicitly, but the whole California thing about mandating electric cars for everybody by 2030. Does that sound like that's guided by freedom to you? Is that what mandating what people buy and what they can't use? That's freedom. Anyway, just one example, food for thought. See when you compare Biden's policies and actions moving forward, if God forbid he wins, if we are moving in the direction of more freedom or less freedom.
Show us where on the doll you feel so free.
More rights or fewer? I know what I want the answer to be, and I think you do too.
We know what you want the answer to be, Joe. Oh, yeah.
There's the line. That's what we were all waiting for.
Yeah.
I know what the intended meaning, what you want the intended meaning to be, Joe, but what you actually did there was really show us what you think. I know what I want.
Yeah. We know
We got F-15s.
what you want. We know that you know that we know that you want what you want.
We got F-15s and cocaine. Well, crack, but same difference.
So, back to Joe.
Come on, Joe. Did you forget?
This is not a time to be complacent.
Okay.
That's why I'm running for re-election.
Jesus, how dramatic can you make it?
Because I know America. I know we're good and decent people.
Except for 50% of us, right? Sorry, did I steal your thunder? Except for all the fuckers that don't vote for you, right?
I know we're still a country that believes in honesty and respect and treating each other with dignity.
What?
That we're a nation where we give hate no safe harbor. We believe that everyone is equal, that everyone should be given a fair shot to succeed in this country.
Thank you for choosing us.
Oh, God.
Every generation of Americans has faced a moment when they have to defend democracy.
So you didn't hear anything he said there, but the imagery there was, fake Dr. Jill, lending some credibility to old President Trippy Steps, sitting there being very authoritative with the way she's delivering her point and whatever, nonsense inanity she's uttering. Yeah.
Probably really smart.
I thought that was a fun little piece of imagery.
Well, she probably had to assume the sentence that he was saying because he got tired and wanted to take a little nappy poo during the interview.
Yeah.
He gets so tired nowadays.
Yeah.
It's so hard running the country. He has to take power naps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry. Back to Joe.
Stand up for our personal freedom. Stand up for the right to vote and our civil rights.
What?
And this is our moment.
I like your choice of music there, by the way, Joe.
We, the people, will not be silenced.
We the people will not be silenced. Well, we the people that agree and regurgitate every.
That's funny. We've been silenced twice.
Yeah.
Really hard.
More, I mean, 3 or 4 times on TikTok and then twice on YouTube. I think we may or may not currently be in a thin ice no-no mode on YouTube.
We're about to be permanently silenced on one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess, we deserve it, and us deserving it is somehow equality and being treated fairly, just like everybody else, and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. That's the new freedom, Dane. The new freedom feels a lot like not freedom.
Yeah.
But that's just your senses not reading it right.
You're just suffering
because
from
if
delusion.
you don't vote for Biden, you ain't black. Fucking idiot. I was quoting Obama, by the way.
Which, by the way,
hold on.
I almost let that one get away from me. This whole we will not be silenced, and that reminds me of something that I've been thinking about for a while. It's all these.
I thought it was the Obama thing that I said.
No,
Obama.
No, it was that same. We will not be silenced.
Obama
is implicit in that statement, right? Is that somebody's trying to silence you to begin with, right? Notwithstanding what we just said.
As if you could be number one. Your side, at least. Sorry.
Not being silenced is this whole idea, right? From that side of the political spectrum, the people who have control of the government, have all of the
media,
top universities, have the media regurgitating all their talking points, or in most cases, giving them their talking points so they can feel like they thought it for themselves when they didn't. When they have all of the entertainment, they have the international organizations pushing in their direction. When we talk about the World Economic Forum or the World Health Organization or the UN, we have non-governmental organizations pushing in their direction. All the way down the line, you have this massive seat of power on a global scale that is pushing every narrative you want and silencing everybody who's not. And you have the audacity,
the unmitigated goal,
the temerity to suggest that anybody is even approaching trying to quote unquote silence you. You literally control every aspect of society, of the culture, if you will. And you are worried about being silent. Well, again, you're not really worried about being silenced.
As the Twitter files was, sorry, if you believe in the imaginary Twitter files that they don't even pay any attention to, that's exactly what they were doing to the other side. It's so fun to look at the hypocrisy. I mean, isn't it fun?
I ask all the time myself, rhetorically, in my head, what world are these people living in? Or I guess it's not necessarily what world they're living in. It's how stupid and filled with, how stupid do they think we are, and how filled with contempt are they at our existence? Sometimes they let it out on accident when they call us deplorables or whatever else they want to call us. MAGA extremists.
I'm not a MAGA.
We're not even MAGA. But just, extremists. Again, John Brennan didn't make any distinctions when he threw libertarians in with the people that needed to be targeted by the federal police apparatus. Is sometimes they let out their contempt for us, but really how stupid they think that we are by saying shit like that. Like they're the ones who are being silenced. They're the ones who are the underdog that are punching up at the powers that be.
Aren't they the ones introducing legislation to control more of what we can and can't say?
Of everything we can do? To
literally be able to shut our podcast down because we aren't saying the things that they say. We're spreading dis, and malinformation. That who decides that, by the way? They do. They decide who's dis, and mal. So again,
which I'm glad you brought. Sorry, you finished your point.
I was done.
My point was
done. That was fun.
I'm glad you brought up dis, and mal. I was looking into it the other day. Mis is information that's shared that's untruthful, right? Dis is information that is shared that doesn't really go along with the narrative. And malinformation is the really, really insidious one, because
Willful, isn't it?
malinformation is true information acknowledged to be true by the people who are labeling it malinformation. They acknowledge that it's true, but
They don't like it.
you can't say the true thing because the implications of it being true have outcomes that they don't approve of. So, again, for example, for example, I'm going to try to I'm going to have to think about this for a second. Of which example I can use that's not going to get this YouTube nuke. Yeah, maybe I better not say it.
Yeah, let's just not.
Everybody knows what an example of this is.
We've seen it. We don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm glad you said that, because
scoot on Pat. We're just gonna leak on out of here.
Because in 2019, I had never heard the term malinformation.
And his side is the side that just comes up with all the new verbiage, don't they? Mis, dis, and mal. Did that exist in 2019? Yeah. I never heard it. I never heard any of that in 2019. Yeah. And again, mis, dis, and mal, who decides? There's not an arbitrary, there's no unaffiliated party that's looking over this shit. They're very affiliated, as we discussed and mentioned, and the Twitter files roundly points out to more of an extent than you ever possibly fathomed, but you didn't hear about it because, again, their mis, dis, mal, their point of view, that didn't even exist. Twitter, that's Elon's. We don't even know that anymore. We didn't even do anything. We don't even call them. We might check their Facebook every now and again to see if they're dating anybody, but we don't even care about Twitter anymore. We don't even care. So all the fuck shit that they were doing when they accused, again, the Orange Man, which he's the only person that can beat the Orange Man, which what kind of dystopian freaking reality are we living in right now? But that's what they accuse the Orange Man of doing on social media, is misrepresenting and using social media to rig an election. Which is exactly what they did with Twitter. Says the Twitter files, not me, says the Twitter files. That's exactly what they did. But because they did it, it's okay. So remember, this same side that always plays the victim is never held accountable for any of the stuff that it does. But you are held to an nth degree of something you didn't even know was illegal to do in the first place until they made it up and then they just accuse you of it. Again, when you say, I don't have anything to hide in my emails, go ahead, government, look in there. That's the slow road to tyranny, because what was that famous quote? Like, show me the person and I'll find the felony or I'll find the law they broke or something like that. God damn it. What was that quote?
Something like that.
Fuck.
I don't know.
God damn it. Give me the person and I'll show you the crime or some shit like that. I forgot. But anyway, again, with this way that it's going, coming from people that have been struck twice for just saying things that we thought were inalienable truths, we're this close to losing one of our platforms that we have this podcast on. And again, we thought we were playing by the rules, and the rules shifted under our feet like that. I can't click how fast they shifted.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my diatribe.
Anyway, we got about 30 seconds of Joe left. Let's see if we can get through it without pausing. I bet we can.
So if you're with me, go to joebiden.com and sign up. Let's finish this job. I know we can.
Let's finish this job.
What job, Joe?
I mean,
what job, Joe?
The trajectory on, Joe, I'm telling you, it's in none of our best interests that you finish anything.
Well,
other than,
Dane, let's give him credit. We're heading for the soft landing. Unemployment's way down because they probably stopped counting it. The market is booming again until it isn't. And life is getting back to normal. One stipulation, though. Our generation has to come to terms with the fact that we're going to have a lower standard of living.
Yeah.
So despite all these smart
screw
things,
us, right?
because the economy is coming back and it's gonna be great. There's gonna be some adjustments in the American dream.
Yeah.
So what job, Joe? What are you talking about?
The Joe of first to worst for the U.S.
Because this is the United States of America. There's nothing, simply nothing we cannot do if we do it together.
That's Joe, everybody. That's your commander in chief. That's the leader of the free world. That is the most powerful human being on the planet. Somehow, this species that is so intelligent that it literally marched from the caves to the stars has somehow created a system, a political system, whatever you want to call it, that yields results like that human being having the position of power that he does. I don't know what that says about our species and our intelligence or lack thereof. Or maybe it just says a lot about our hubris and lack of foresight. That's probably what it says. But whatever you think it says, what I can promise you it definitely says is that system that we've created that heretofore has led us to the point that we're at today, where that person is pulling the reins, is not a system that's speaking very highly of highly for itself to stay in power or in effect. It's not working. It's broke. If that's the best we can do, and that system could not prevent something like that happening, I suggest to you the system is irretrievably broken. And as we all know, that there's only one way to fix systems like that. But I'll let you fill in that blank.